Hey y'all, welcome back to a new video. This is gonna be my account showcase for the RTA contention season. Now, if you've already seen my last video, you know that we hit legend for the first time. And then we're just gonna be talking about the core drafts that I used and pretty much like an account overview. So I'll skip over like the unimportant ones because I have way too many units to go through. So like for example, this first one there, we'll just skip over it. So yeah, let's just get started. As you know, I was a one trick, so if I did not have Zeo, I pretty much lost the game. That's all you need to know. Oh, and Ran and Pera and Nakwol, like those are all like my core openers. So yeah, it was rough if I didn't have Zeo specifically though, because if they just steal Zeo, my draft was like picking Haste, Politis, Acades, and then pray I could like cheese them with Acades. I'm not even joking. But yeah, so I was very reliant on Zeo and Haste, but we'll get to that later. So to kick things off, oh also before I start, shout outs to Brian. I forgot to shout out Brian in my last video. So I'm shouting him out here. You know, my goat master yapper, credit card swiper, Overwatch choker, Chinese League enthusiast. That's my guy. When I was climbing yesterday, he just kept yapping about fucking... I don't even fucking know. He just yaps so much. But then he managed to help me focus and win somehow. So yeah, shout out to Brian. Alright, anyways. To actually get into the account, so Briarwitch Izeria. So this wasn't actually her build. I swapped it at the end of the season, but essentially it was I just swapped like 3 pieces. She was like 287 or something like that, I think around there. And then I lost like 1,000 attack, but everything else pretty much stayed the same. Oh, and I also lost like 30 crit chance. But I was running an opener Briar build near the end of the season to deal with first pick haste if they stole it. So my draft would turn into like Zeo, Briar, Ludwig instead, right? Since Briar is good into haste. So yeah. So here's like my staple DPS, probably my most picked unit of the season. Besides haste probably. So yeah, this unit is fucking insane. So as you can see, I'm running 50-50 crit chance because I really needed the damage on Ludwig. Because there's so many takedown drafts that rely on like Albedo, or Carmen, or Senya, or Tanky DDR, right? Where I really needed this damage rather than the like crit chance to actually nuke down their team. Like if I lost because I didn't crit, that's better than losing because I didn't do enough damage. So if I'm forfeiting 2.2% of my games in exchange of actually killing their team, I'll take that chance. Because even with this stat line, I'm like barely still like kind of doing enough, but also not really on against some teams. So like this damage feels at the very minimum good enough. So I can't sacrifice more speed or crit or damage, my bad, because I really needed this stat line. So what can you do, right? But yeah, he got me a lot of kills if he crit, and he was such a strong pick on the 3. Like my opening was Haste, Zeo, and Ludwig, right? And that would bait in a lot of stuff like Albedo and Candy. But then if they went all of that, I just lock in the 4-5 with my Nakwol and Judge Kisei, where it fucks up their counterattackers. So yeah, he was really strong this season for me. This is like my anti-cleave Aiden. Didn't really draft too much, but if they like went Ran cleave on me, I would try to pick this and hope for dodges. But I'm pretty sure she hasn't dodged once when I picked her. Like I deadass think she has like a 0% win rate because every time I pick her, she just gets hit and I die. So I actually don't know if I actually won a game with her, but that's besides the point. Here's my villager in case I was racing with Ahmed or like trying to cut with Rand. But I mean, this build isn't really that good because it's too much speed, right? He needs like less speed for more damage, but it's whatever. It was mainly just an imprint anyway, so Didn't really draft this unit. She was pretty bad. Same with Straze. Ahmed follow up. Okay, here we go with the Ran, right? So, um, for Legend standards, 319 was actually on the lower side, I want to say, just because if you're trying to rank cleave in Legend, you probably want at least like a 325 so you can outspeed Paras. But my Ran, I'm pretty sure I got outsped by every Para that I went up against. Which is why I stopped picking Ran on 3 and I started picking Ran on 4. Because, yeah, he was just getting contested way too easily, and I kept getting outsped, which led me to lose the game. And he also has a lot of counters like A-Tau and AOL Elena core, so he wasn't that strong near the end of this season. Like, at the beginning, no one really knew how to fight Ran 3P, but near the end, everyone kind of got solved, so that's why I shifted my draft as well. But I mean, he's still insane. Like, again, I picked him a lot. So, I mean, RNL wins you games, right? So, yeah. And then, no, I think that's it, yeah. Ignore ER Soulburn is broken. I'll just draft him if they win a speed lead on 1, like ML Poly. So I could just go Zeo Ran on 2 and 4, so yeah. I want to regear this to a fast TML. So I'll be on the lookout for that. This gear should honestly be on like Sid or like TML, but it doesn't have crit chance, so it's kind of cope, but that's why it's just on Carrick. I don't know, we'll see. I drafted her like once, I think, into the Albedo teams without cleanse. Like, she's decent into Albedo Candy Haste, because she just ignores the Albedo mint, and attack down is good against Candy, so she can't like wipe your team even if she does counter a lot. So that was like the few scenarios I used her. Now here's my damage politics. At the last week, I changed her build again to have even more damage. I was like 4.2k attack with 320 crit damage, but I was at like 209 speed. It was just for the last half of the season where everyone was cleaving, so I wanted to have like a full damage politics to like kill their Ludwig or Jacko or Sid or whatever with an S2 in case Ran S2'd. So yeah. But now that no one's really cleaving anymore because the season's over, I went back to this speed build just so this can cut with my Ran. Celine was a tech pick for me, where I picked her when they picked stuff like Elena or AOL and I had unbuffable. Because she's on highest attack EE, so if they have Laya as their solo DPS, she can actually hit the Laya and then Soulburn S3 and kill her. If they had like an Elena to trigger my Ran. So she ended up being a force ban every time versus those comps. So she had a very niche usage case, but I did pick her quite a lot. Here's my damage Jacko. Nothing special, it's just it can one-shot Layas from full HP if they have a debuff without Mitt. So that's like the main point of this Jacko build. And obviously we're on Symbol. Yeah. This unit was pretty bad for me. I didn't really know how to use her that well. I know I should be on lifesteal, but I mean, I just didn't know how to use her, so like sometimes she was a force ban, but when she got through, she kind of lost me the game, so wasn't that good for me. Now Janua, this was like my second anchor besides haste. I know it's crazy to say Janua's an anchor, but he kind of was, where if he practice immortality, like if he practice passive and Ren sets up a death break, he can kind of just 1v4 the entire team by himself at that point. So he was really strong versus Ed, versus Senya, versus Laya, stuff like that. So yeah. Here's my anti-cleave RB. Didn't really pick in too much, but because I was the one cleaving, so I didn't have a reason. But I mean, he was built in case. Here's Ahmed follow up. My damage Sid. I wish I could build up a second Sid, I probably will in the future where he's like 300. Because this is just on damage build. So he's meant to just nuke down 2 units with this build pretty much. So yeah. Old Zeo follow-up. Commander Pavel. I sometimes drafted him as a 5 if they didn't go candy. Because if my draft of Haste, Seal, Ludwig, Cavill got through and they banned my Deathbreaker, I would have enough damage to kill their team, regardless of Deathbreak, because I just kill their 2 threats that can deal with Haste. Like for instance, let's say they have a DDR, right? So we kill the DDR with Ludwig Soulburn, and then we can kill off their, I guess, Albedo with Commander Pavel S3. And then they're stuck with like Laya Senya, which just loses to Haste, right? So yeah, he was a nice P5, but only P5. If you picked him on P4, he kind of just died like a dog to like Elvira plus ML Poly or like Sage Ball or something like that. So yeah, he was pretty bad, but nice P5. Didn't really draft this unit just because I wasn't picking Ran on 3 anymore, so I couldn't guarantee a non-attack skill opener to get through. So yeah, kind of fell off for me near the end of the season. Ahmed follow-up again. Not really drafted. She was drafted kind of when they just spammed counterattackers, and I was confident they weren't going to go Edward Celine because those are like her 2 biggest counters. So if I was first pick, then I would draft her on 4-5. Oh, and this is speed tune, so my Ludwig always cuts in front above the Elena, because you don't want your Astromancer to go before your Ludwig Soulburn, because that would fuck up some tuning. And if they have like debuff control like Ed, then yeah, you kind of lose. So you need Ludwig to go first before Elena. Not really drafted. Okay, so let's go with Zeo. This Zeo build's not that good, surprisingly. His gear score is pretty low. Like, this is 87, like 94, 93. Like, it's nothing crazy, but it got the job done where he's just there to take turn 1 and push back a high ER target. Like, let's say Elena, right? For example. Or if you need to get chip damage on Senya. He was just like mini setup for my rest of the team to kill. And he was really good against A-Talon because he could proc his passive. So they couldn't really go A-Talon AOL on me, even though they still did. So I needed to have like additional tech for it. But yeah, Zeo was like super strong for me. If I didn't have this unit, then I was like kind of fucked. But that's me every season. Like I'm a fucking Zeo crutch. Like if you fight against me in ladder, just take my Zeo and I lose. Anyways, here's Gala. Now, speaking of A-Talon AOL, she was one of the units I picked into that because for my counter to A-Talon AOL was picking Gala plus Cdom, which we'll get to later, and sometimes Flan, but we'll get to that as well. She was on a slower build, but I sped her up hella to deal with A-Talon AOLs in case they have like a kind of fast AOL. So this makes sure it's in front of Ludwig, so I S3 like their A-Talon, and then Ludwig can just clean up from there. Because he would already have attack buff. So I could just S2, S1 something, get a lot of chip, and then win from there. So yeah. Picked into A-Talon AOL. Ahmed follow-up. Okay, we'll go to Cleve LHC now. She was... Unfortunately, she kind of fell off near the end of the season. She's not very good into tanky teams. Only really into Ed. Because Ed, he himself is pretty squishy, right? But if they go like Albedo, then I can't really pick Lionheart into Albedo even though they have a counterattack. Because that team is just way too tanky for Lionheart to deal with. Like, I need Cavill there instead. Like... Her scaling is decent. My LHC gear is like honestly cracked. Like this is like crazy, right? I have some of my best gear on her, but she kind of just struggles into tank down. So unless you can get a def breakthrough, but that's pretty rare. Because if you take like a Rand LHC, they're definitely banning Rand for sure, and then your damage kind of falls off. So that's the only thing. But besides that, into Edge, she's always a force ban. Or Genoa. Like Genoa LHC was like my best friends versus Ed, so yeah. Now here we go with Monk. Now she was my main P4. Because if they didn't drop any speed, then I'll go Monk instead of Rand, because Monk can deal with A-Town AOL a lot easier than Rand can. And she has turn reset, which is really strong against like DDRs and stuff. And she's also on Candle, so she can also get the Death Break if I'm lucky. And then the Seal also, so in case they go Senya, right? Or Haste, we can seal one of them, and then we just go from there. Because if I drop the Rand, I can't seal anything. So if I don't kill the Haste and Senya at the same time, I lose. So yeah, Knockwell was really, really strong for me. Obviously, we're at Giga F, so we can tag stuff like Elena as well. Yeah, that's pretty much it. Like, one of my MVPs of the season for sure. I only drafted her when Rand was pre-banned. That's pretty much it, because I needed a second opener. Okay, another MVP of the season, Blooming Lidica. She was really strong when they went Politis plus Speed Lead, because if they go Politis plus Speed Lead, then your Ludwig can't actually cut, right? Because he only pushes up 10 CR. So how to solve that was by going Blitty. So if you pair Blitty with either Zio or Ran, one of the openers that get through, then she'll push back the Speed Lead, and then your Ludwig can take the next turn. So yeah, Blooming Lidica was super, super strong this season for me. She was decent into Senya as well, because she has skill null, so if you kill everyone else before she gets to S3, then Senya can't do anything. She was good into Para as well, because I mean Para doesn't really care about Para. Good into BBK, good into Genoa. Like there was a lot of stuff she was good into, which is why like I picked this unit a ton. Yeah, really, really strong unit. This unit was pre-banned, but if she got through and I had Luna plus Zio or Luna plus Rand, I pretty much won the game. Like, you should know what this unit does right by now. Alright, here's another tech that I cooked up with near the last month of the season, where I explained it before, but her plus Knockwell locked down all the counterattackers in the game. So if you do a hypothetical draft, let's say I'm first pick, I go Haste, they go, let's say, Laya DDR, I go Zio Ludwig, and then they go Albedo Candy. Then I lock in Kisei and Knockwell, and then they lose the game. Because no matter which gets through, between Knockwell and Judge Kisei, I have a way to stop their counterattackers with either Bind or Judge Kisei's S2. And they both Death Break too, so it sets up my Ludwig damage as well. And the cool thing is if they ban Zio, right? They ban Zio to get rid of 30% of my pen on Ludwig. And the cool thing is that both Knockwell and Judge Kisei, they both have turn resets. So you can reset the Laya, and then she won't be able to cleanse on her first turn because you have 2 resets. So that was really, really strong for me as well. 2-turn reset on DDR, Laya, Albedo, and I guess not really Candy, but who cares? Yeah, really, really strong. So Judge Kisei, also another MVP of the season. Cleave Ken. Didn't really draft this unit because I just picked Arcades instead. I thought she was better, so unit was bad. Okay, here is the star man of my legend finish. This fucking cancer ass Blood Moon Haste Soul Weaver. So I kind of changed this build a lot throughout the season. Like, he was always on Water's Origin, he was always around this speed, but then I was experimenting having lower defense for more FRES or more defense for lower FRES, just because I didn't want to get tagged by Albedo S3, but I also didn't want to die to like a random Selene S3 or like a Genoa S1 S3. Like, it's happened before, but I think I like the more defense build better at the end of the day. Just because the ER didn't really... I mean, it helped, but I feel like the defense was just more valuable. Just to tank a little bit. Like, a couple of the games where they went BBK, I only lived because I changed like more defense for less FRES, so yeah. Having the F is important though to strip buffs off of like 100 ER targets. So if I 50-50 it, I can strip without soul burn. So yeah. So if you don't know how this build works, essentially how it operates is you send you front load all of your damage first on like your Zeo, Ludwig, Ran, or Cavill or whatever. And then whatever like lives, or like whatever that threatens the haste, you just kill with haste S3. Or like if they have a buff, then Soulburn S1, right? Because Zeo, Ludwig, Cavill, or Zeo, Ludwig, Ran, or Zeo, Ludwig, Knockhole, you'll generate, even if you like soulburn everything, you'll have enough souls to soulburn this, always. You'll always have enough souls left over to use this if you have to. So with that generated 10 souls, you can soulburn like a DDR with immunity or something, or like anything that you need to kill for haste to win. If not, then you can always just S3 and pick off their DDR. And what that lets you do is, because I'm on such a fast build with Water's Origin, since their main haste threat is gone, and in this case DDR, right? They have nothing to kill the haste, so I can cycle back around and get a second S3 really, really fast. And you've probably seen it in my Legend video, where I got to S3 haste twice, because I was on the fast build, right? And I don't have to risk any like counter RNG, because I could just lap naturally. Like this build can outspeed Senya's with speed buff, or like the tanky ones, I guess. So yeah, that was the reason for that. My main first pick, right? He was always my first pick, no matter what, because he was just that strong. So yeah, probably my most picked unit, honestly, but MVP for sure. I was Flitty cleaving a little bit during that time I made the Flitty video, just to experiment some more. It was pretty strong, but I don't think it was that good at the end of the day, just because it's a bit too slow, unfortunately, and I still wasn't really experienced too well in it, but I don't know, who knows, maybe Flitty will come back again. Okay, now my second tech to the ATOW and AOL was CDOM. So how this worked was, if they went ATOW and AOL, I would push back like their thing that cuts in front of my Ludwig, and I will start soul burning Ludwig like 20 fucking times. And that will slowly push up my CDOM to the front, right? And then I would kill the thing again. You see the moral of the story here. I'm killing the unit that threatens my haste the most. So I would send everything on DDR or AOL. Probably AOL, honestly, actually. And then we kill the AOL, and then my CDOM gets to cut, and then we send everything on DDR after. And then I can S3 the haste onto DDR, and then he should die. Because I have such a huge damage build. And I can save souls. I don't have to like soul burn everything with Ludwig. I can save 20 souls for soul burn on this. I can use this on the DDR plus the haste S3. And we're pretty much good from there. Like if AOL, DDR are dead, then perfect, right? I don't have to ever AoE with No, honestly I can actually, because you can Ludwig S1, S2, S1 onto the AOL, and you can S3, because AOL is gonna die, right? So she won't be able to proc the skill null, which means your CDOM gets even more damage on the DDR, because now you have Ludwig S3, CDOM S3 soul burn, and then haste S3 onto the DDR, and then that definitely kills him. And then we just went with haste from there. So yeah, another ATOW and AOL tech. I also have an AOL build on a fast build. This is to deal with Ran cleavers that didn't pick Polly or Rowana. So yeah. Drink Biblis. She was pretty decent into Candy plus Polly Karina teams, so I picked her a couple times and she won me games, so yeah. Pretty underrated. Yeah, so Moon Bunny sometimes, if they go like Para, I would sometimes pick Moon Bunny into, which is not the greatest answer, but if I have like Poly Moon Bunny, then they can't go Rowana, so I'm fine. We have Soul Constellation, right, to cut in front sometimes. It's like a cheese artifact, so yeah. Veronica, she was the force fan versus the BBK teams that were pretty rampant this season, so it was nice to have this for sure. I'm not an aggro player, so I didn't really pick her. She was a force ban versus the solitary anchors, always, or not solitary anchors, my bad. The Sylvan Sage Vivian anchors, always a force ban. My Flan. Now here we have another tech to the A-Town AOL thing, but more so just tanky teams in general, where people kind of stopped running immunity on their units because they opt for resist set or health set, right? So Flan, if I picked her on 4 or 5, she was often banned a lot because they didn't have immunity. So which means like my Flan Gala or my Flan CDOM or something would get through and then win the game. But if I thought they would have immunity, then I wouldn't draft her, obviously. So it was very player dependent, honestly. Here's my, I guess, anchor DDR, even though he has like no bulk, but yeah, high speed, high effectiveness to tag everything, sacred tree branch to help with cycling. Yeah, he was really strong into haste first pick. Like if I didn't want a Zeo Briar, I would do Zeo DDR, because DDR fucks on haste. You can kill the entire team. Haste gets his buff, but you could just strip it with DDR. So yeah, it was fine. This might be like top 5 unit in the game, honestly. This unit can be used in every playstyle. Kind of absurd. Like, there's metas revolving around him, so yeah. My fucking shit-ass candy where I would just pray for Elbrises versus Cleavers, and if I didn't get it, then I would die like a dog. But it's okay, I robbed AB one time with this, and that's all I could ask for. The one time I beat AB, you know? We're getting pretty low. Okay, Ahmed, just typical Ahmed build, nothing special. She's not fan, she's really slow, so I couldn't really draft her. But if they went like, if I knew they were a snail, then yeah, I could draft her. But only if that was the case. But Ahmed was really strong this season. If I had faster gear, or like if I was a true Ahmed cleaver, I would dedicate faster gear to her for sure. Another MVP of the season is Rowana. Very, very broken unit for Cleave. Resets everything, right? Because she has 300F. And she turned resets, so this fucked on BBK like extremely hard. Like this was a force ban if they went BBK. So Rowana was really strong for me in that scenario. I could pick her with Knockhold to double reset Layas. I don't even have to S2. I can Soulburn S1 sometimes and set up a Death Ray for my Ludwig, and then I could kill that tanky unit with Rowana S1, Zeo, and then Ludwig after. Like she was so versatile for me this season. She was good into like Janua. She was good into like Sage Ball, Kate, anything that relied on CR, Elena. Just a really, really cracked unit. So if you're cleaving, definitely recommend her. Yeah, she was really strong. Ooh, that might be. We're getting close to the end here. Yeah, all these units I don't really use. Frida, I might have something cooking with her. She's just on trash gear, but the speed is all that really matters on her, so yeah. Oh yeah, here's my Race Celeste I picked sometimes. If they went full speed with like Ran, now I was racing with Luna, right? I'll pick Luna plus 4 imprints, and then this will be one of them. So if even if they ban the Luna, I'll have Celeste with 3 imprints to take the turn, and then hopefully I push back with S2. This was really nice versus Sage Balls. She would cut in front, and then S3. Sage Ball would sleep, and then she would cut in front, and then cleanse everything. And this is also speed tune in case they went Fire Politis, because Fire Politis plus Sage Ball is pretty common. So even if they went Fire Politis, this will still cut in front. So yeah, really strong into Sage Ball. Okay, another MVP of the season for me was this Acades. If they prioritized taking turn 1 over me by taking my Zeo and like leaving me down, Acades was like my one thing I could rely on to hopefully like rob me wins, and it worked a fair decent amount. Like I probably won like maybe 50% of the time. It's better than like getting dogged down every time, right? She would cut in front and then boost up my Politis, and then she would just get the kill on something. She was good into Luna, because she can cleanse. If I had Fire Poly. If I didn't have Fire Poly, I definitely didn't pick her. Like I only picked Acades if I had Fire Poly on 2, because she's only good when you can guarantee take the turn. So like if they went Fire Politis for Juana Luna, like Acades is a dead pick, right? So only took her when Fire Poly was available, which is why I took Fire Poly on 2, and then Haste on 1, and then Acades on 3. So yeah. Um Ooh, that might be it. Yeah, that's it. Those are my core units pretty much. I didn't really branch out from that, honestly. Um yeah, this is a lot shorter account review than normal, just because I wanted to like only talk about the important ones and not about like the units that no one cares about. But yeah, that's essentially it. I hope you guys enjoyed this account showcase review, and I'll have more content cooking in the future during preseason. So yeah, I got y'all. I'll talk to y'all later. See you guys.